Welcome to Single Moms Unfolded. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Kelly Viera. This is a podcast for single moms created by a single mom to help single moms. This is our safe space to love, to connect, and grow together. Hello, friends, and welcome to Single Moms Unfolded. I'm your host, Kelly Viera, and today we are blessed to have Sally Phillips rushing with us. Welcome, Sally. How are you today?
Thank you, Kelly. Thanks for having me here. It's all good. It's a pretty day. The sun's out. I'm here having a conversation. It's all
Good. Well, you've been a busy lady to get a hold of. I'm glad all is well, and we're here now.
Thank you so much for your patience and tenacity and not giving up on me. I really appreciate that.
It's all good. It's all good. So tell us, what is your definition of a single mom?
Well, it has changed over the years. I think my 2023 definition of a single mother is you're the go-to for your kids, right? You're the point of contact. You're that touchpad where no matter what's sort of blowing up in the world, you're a safe place to land. There's a community of people who support this single mother anyway. I, have not done this trip alone. So for me, single motherhood is about having some really huge, incredible opportunities to learn more about who I am as a human being, because I think that's part of why kids come into our life, is to grow us and to teach us, right? It's a shared experience. So I guess that's the summation of it.
I love that. I love that, to help us grow. And our kids teach us every day. There's things I'm like,
don't they?
What? I never heard of that before.
Right? They didn't put the manual in the baby bag when they let us leave the hospital. I'm like, I kept looking for it.
Exactly.
Right? And I still look for it.
And I tell my daughter often, we'll be like having it out with something. I'm like, listen, I've never done this before either. Okay? I do it.
You don't even know.
The best I can with this. So just bear with me.
Right? You don't even know how glad I am to hear you say that. I had that conversation with my kids. They were maybe, 7, 9 years old. We're just, I can still see, I'm driving the van, we're coming down the hill and something's exploding in the car and I'm trying to have a moment. And I finally just said, I don't you think I know how to do this? Like, to my children, I'm telling you, think I have it first time, newbie,
It is. It's so true.
Cheers.
We should have a disclosure. We're learning together. So we're learning together.
Objects are closer than they appear.
That's right.
This is my first time. Right.
So true. So do you think there's any misconceptions about single moms?
I think that sometimes there are. I looked at that question and it was one that, my initial response was like, I'm not one to really care a lot what people think sometimes.
Right.
I'm very fortunate and blessed and that hasn't always been true in my life. Like, that was a big learning for me, was to sort of let go of what other people's definitions were of what my life was supposed to look like, because I didn't see it mirrored often. But I'd say, as I thought about it, and I was like, okay, well, let me think, are there? And I Googled. I went to Mama Google, what are the misconceptions, to start to get some context. But I think sometimes it's almost like a kind of mood about it. And that's not the experience.
Right.
Yes. Are there times when it would be nice to have somebody that you could just tag, you're it? Or, I don't know, somebody else to walk the groceries up. Or like today, I left to go get the mail and came back, had locked myself out of the house. Phone's in the house, computers in the house, keys are in the house, locked myself out. So you have to get creative. But I think, one misconception might be that there's a sense that there's something absent or missing, or kind of almost like a sadness around it.
So, Sally, tell me about your family and your kids. How old are they? And
I have two children. So my firstborn, my daughter, will be 19 in April. She's born on Earth Day. So just what is that? 3, 4 weeks away. And then my son he'll be 17 in July. So right now they're 18 and 16.
all right,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So, what was your first reaction when you knew that you were going to be a single mom?
Wow. It was a really intense moment. It wasn't, I mean, we knew the relationship was finished. We were trying to find our way through introducing the kids to what it was going to be like to have a different rhythm. And so we were trying this exercise where I would be there one weekend and then the other parent would be there. And so the kids stayed, right? So we would come and go from the house and exit and just let them kind of be stable to get a sense of what it was like to just have a one person there. So that was kind of where I started to get a feel for, okay, it's going to be a little different rhythm, trying to see what was showing up for the kids in that. But then there was a moment where we were trying to create all of the stuff that we needed to just file and have custody be our own creation, and things took a really dark turn. They got really pretty abusive, pretty pathological. It was a big surprise in a lot of ways, and it was kind of a scary moment, to realize that I was going to be doing this with somebody who wasn't necessarily on board to be a co-parent.
Now, first, I want to commend you for doing like a role playing with your kids to get them prepared, because that is like amazing that you guys even thought of that. Because yeah, that's just amazing that you were doing that for your kids. It shows you're working towards a child-centered divorce, and and
Mm-hmm.
after coming from that space to having it get totally the other way, that must have been really like wow.
It was scary. It was honestly very, I mean, that was the first visit I had to make to the local police station to understand what options I had. And that never was in any of the baby books.
No, no, seriously.
Have kids go to the police station, not part of what I had in the scope.
Right. So you were scared for yourself and for your kids, so then you had to go to plan B, which you didn't know. So what was your biggest struggles once you realized, okay, this is not a safe environment? And
It was trying to figure out, there were a couple things. One was how to have that rhythm for the children. What is the new normal for them? How many days are they going to be with me? How many days are they going to be with the co-parent? Trying to come to some agreement on that. There was a lot of background conflict, and the children were 3 and 5 at the time.
mm-hmm.
So trying to figure out what that parenting time rhythm was going to be, and having there be so many variations on that. I saw that took a big toll on the kids, because they just were like the rug had been pulled out from under them. It was all so different. And the kids aren't lost to when it's not comfortable and
Right.
it's not easy for the adults. So that was one thing. And then the other thing was, I had been the work and support the family. I was the breadwinner for a home. And so now all of a sudden I had to figure out how to be a single working parent. So child support, how to get them to and from school, how to, carpool line, drop off, pick up. There were just a whole number of things that I had to now step forward into much more actively. So those were the two biggest things.
Yeah, I know it's co-parenting, and especially when it's a tough relationship, when you can't get along, it's amazing, right? Because you think you're going to break up. You're like, I'm free from this person. But you're like, no, you're not free. Now you have to still have a relationship for like some people 18 years with this person. And,
right?
And compromise. It's like, oh my God, this is worse than when I was married. It really, it's a lot. Okay, so can you tell me, like, what was your biggest learning from all this stuff? It's a lot.
Wow, that there's power in a pause, like just stop,
Mm.
right? I went into, and it was one of those moments where over, I've been a single parent now, what, 13 years. And so there's been a lot of learning to that concept. But what I realized was I didn't stop in that moment really. Go, 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 go,
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
And if I had an opportunity to go back, I would just press pause and look through and get more intentional around certain things in terms of my self care, my headspace. Um, I do a lot of things differently, but the first thing, I guess the biggest lesson was there is power when I slow down. There's power when I stop. There's power when I try to visualize what it is I want the outcome to be. There is power when I just stop,
Wow. That's
right?
so smart. Those, but we don't think of it, right? We're just like going on got to get someone to school. Someone needs lunch. Someone's got a science project. I got a deadline at work. You're not stopping until you like drop dead in bed and you're like, oh, thank God, it's time to go to sleep.
Right? Right? And I still don't do it as often as I guess if there's the should,
Right.
Um, but yeah, that would be the big one. And then the second learning was love wins. Like I am not going to adopt another person's fight or argument or path. I mean, at some point I realized like I can continue down this path of conflict, or what I can do is stop and realize that if I continue to go this route, I have only myself to blame for choosing to sacrifice the peaceful, loving, goofy, just mom that I am, right? I let the circumstances take control. And so that moment when I realized like at my core, I am a loving, peaceful, kind of chill, half glass full person. And that was not what was occupying my hours in my day. So,
Wow. That's crazy you say that because I'm reading a book and it's called, I think it's Returning to Love, my like Marianne Williamson. And that's what she talks about. I can choose to live in this conflict or I can step back and see the world through love. And it's like, wow, how many things are I'm like, you know, pushing against when why? I don't have to agree with everything, but I don't have to be the other force keep pushing and pushing. I can step back and oh, I love that. I love
right?
that.
Yeah,
So
it
so
was, I had I was in church one Sunday and the pastor was doing a series, and one of the questions that he asked was, what would love require me to choose?
wow.
And it stuck, it hit based on where
Yeah.
I've been, where I am, what my hopes and dreams are for the future. What does love require of me right now? And it requires so many different things. So many, because love isn't always quiet and peaceful. Love is fierce. Love is tenacious. Love is powerful. Love, it has all kinds of ways that it's shown in action. So, yeah,
That's a good like sticky note or like a backdrop to put on your phone even to remind yourself.
right.
Wow, I think I'm gonna do that. Wow. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Sally.
Yeah, you're
Thank you.
welcome. I'll send you a mug. I have it on one of my mugs. I'll send it. So I'll get your address and I'll send it to you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And I'll show it on my next podcast. Look at my mug from Sally. So tell me, like, what does your life look like now?
Okay. I work from home, which is a huge blessing.
Mm,
I hope that continues. That came as a result of COVID, right? I was out of the house and working, but now the bulk of sort of what keeps the lights on and the bills paid uh, in my work is from home. But I'm a creator and I am a teacher and I am a parent advocate. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a therapist. I'm a single mom of 12 years. I have been through family, civil, and criminal court with our case. It wound its way across 12 years through all of those stages and phases. And what came from that is a commitment to, I don't know what my story is supposed to help do or change or stop or reroute. I do give that to God. I give that to say, I will be available. I want to create a space and do that work every single day for moms who are in high conflict custody cases, to be able to just hold a space first, just to be able to say the worst out loud.
Right.
Let's just be able to be there first, and then we'll figure everything else out. I love to edit. Like, I help moms edit emails when they're trying to figure out kind of what to say to their attorneys, to make a legal strategy to be able to make the most out of your retainer. So,
Right.
yeah.
Wow. That's
So,
awesome. That's
so
awesome.
some curriculum, working on some curriculum stuff. So there'll be some courses that are going to be coming and some
Oh,
tools,
that
and
would be
just,
great.
yeah.
That'd be great. We'll get all your information in the notes so people can you can help people here. So if you could tell your younger self something, what would you tell your younger self?
Ooh, choose wisely, please. Just,
For sure.
you
Hallelujah.
know, like pay attention to how people act. Like, pay attention to the actions, because words, people can sound really great and can say a lot of things, but how are they showing up?
Oh
And
yeah.
that'd be the biggest thing. Just like, just
There's a
choose.
quote that I used to go by, and it was like a Maya Angelou quote, and it says, "When people show you who they are the first time, believe them."
Yep.
Right. See the red flags. Don't be like, oh, well, you know what? They're really cute. So I don't care if maybe they blew me off. No, that's a flag. Notice that. Take
Or
warning.
with time, this will change, or it'll soften, or it'll be different,
Yes. Or you can
right?
love this out of them. I can just love this behavior out of them. I'll just teach them. No, 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 no.
Right?
Right.
Right?
That's so true. Oh, that's huge. That's so true. Yeah, I wish I could tell my younger self that too. I probably
Yeah.
could have saved myself a lot of heartache, but hey, well,
Hey,
we're on
slow
this
down now.
we're on this path for a reason. So here I am.
That's it. And I sit down sometimes. There are times where, I had a friend right after I moved to Atlanta. I was part of a women's support group. And I can remember there were maybe 8 of us in this room. And this one woman, her name was Kelly. And she just was very quiet. She was one of those people that when she crossed her legs, like everything folded, right? And I can remember her sitting there. She would always have like a cup of hot water. She would just sit and sip her hot water. And at some point, someone was talking about, I don't remember what came up, but she was just like, look, here's the thing. If you don't like something, say something. And if you need to deal with whatever that is that's just like exploding in you, in terms of it feels big or sad, it's just wrapped up in all of these feelings, choose, like, get somebody who will sit and hold on to that kid or that little kid that's feeling that, or that teenager, or wherever that wound is showing up. Get somebody to babysit them for a minute while you go deal with what you need to deal with.
Oh
And
wow.
I'm like, I had to talk to her for a long time about that, to say, what do you, she said, I will call people and tell them, I need you to babysit little Kelly for about 2 hours, because I just need to go and just be. And I need to know that she's safe. And it took me a while to kind of wrap my head around it, because I was like, that's a little like, I don't know. But it made sense. It made sense, because still sometimes, I know I have memories or feelings or wounds or things that I continue to try to heal or manage or face. And I have to kind of realize where that happened in my life and start to pay attention to that.
Wow, that's really good though. Can you make sure that's safe and I'll take care of what I have to. Make sure I'm
Mhm.
safe. Yeah, because you all have like that little kid inside of us that's still like healing from something or, has a hot spot for whatever it
Ooh.
is.
Right.
Yeah.
If I go up like a bottle rocket, like if I'm in an interaction with my daughter and I can feel it, I get angry fast or I respond too quickly. Like that's a me issue.
Yeah. That,
That's on me to try to figure out like what is that that's causing that to kind of rise up. And my daughter's taught me a lot about how to apologize. I suck at it. But she's really helped me be able to say, yeah, I got that really wrong and I'm sorry.
that's awesome. You saying that, and I had another podcast with a girlfriend of mine, Lori, and she's a child psychologist. And it's funny you bring that up because what she says is our first reaction to correct our children is not about them. It's usually about us. And so now when I'm like getting angry, I'm like, wait a second, I'm worried about me. I'm not worried about your actions. And my daughter will say the same thing. She goes, it's always my fault, huh? And I'm like, wow, no, maybe it's not your fault. Maybe it's just my perception that it's your fault. You're right. So, yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
do teach us. They
they
really
do.
do.
They do. And I have a lane and they have a lane, right? They did not. I got a book right after I found out that I was pregnant because I didn't have my children. My daughter was born when I was 43. Right?
Okay.
So I had my children much later in life. And somebody gave me a book. It was by Deepak Chopra.
Oh, I love it.
And one of the life lessons that came out of that was do not put on a mask where you think you know all of it, just simply because you now are called mom or mother.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness. Well, thank you, Sally, so much. I've been so inspired today. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome, Kelly. Thank you.
We want to thank you for tuning in today. Every Thursday there'll be new episodes, so definitely check back. In the meantime, feel free to follow us on Facebook at My Happy Place and Instagram at My Happy Place for Life. That was with the number 4. Remember, you're smart, you're beautiful, and you got this. See you soon.